Welcome back, everyone, to Grand Tactician the Civil War. It is October 1861. If you have not seen our Union campaign to this point, there's a link in the description that will take you back to the beginning, and you can catch up with what has happened thus far. We are engaged now in a battle outside Nashville where I was expecting we would probably end up fighting. I sent Grant's army from Cairo, Illinois, down to Nashville, hoping to draw the Confederates out of the North and down to defend their home territory. That's exactly what's happened. The fighting bishop himself, Leonidas Polk, and yes, he was an ordained bishop of the Episcopal Church, who died pretty horribly during the Civil War. But that's a story for another day. Grant's army is going to take him on outside of Nashville. This is going to be a key battle that we definitely want to win. Pretty even numbers, but he's got the morale edge on us and slightly more guns. Let's see what happens. So we're on the Stones River battlefield, it appears. There's the town of Murfreesboro, and we've got a position right here to defend the objective. We are on the defense on this one. He's coming in from right up here, so I would expect he's going to come right down the Lebanon Turnpike. So we're going to dig in somewhere in this area. I'll start arraying my forces, and we'll prepare to receive his attack. So I always have to keep in mind that with these replacement depots I have, which are units that I'm not using in combat, that's got to come off the number. So I've got 6,000 men in the replacement depot, so I'm actually a little bit outnumbered in this one. We are digging in for a fight here. I've got cavalry out on my flanks just to protect, just in case. 1st Victorian Mounted Rifles over here. And then in the parapets themselves, we've got the 1st Australian Volunteers, Jonathan's Rifles. I've got the 21st King James Regiment of Foot in reserve, 20th Ohio right there, 4th Iowa, Utah Outlaws right there. And then, of course, our batteries, and we have a cavalry unit in reserve as well. I would expect he's got to come right down this road. I would be really surprised if he goes any other direction. Well, here they come, led by Cleburne's cavalry and Walker's artillery, and then he's got some more cav up front. So the infantry must be lagging behind. These are the scout cavalry coming out front first, so we'll probably expect him to take a while to get into position. The nice thing is, hopefully, when he crosses this water, it'll cause him to get a little disorganized in moving in to position for his attack. The bad thing is that all of my units in this particular army have Springfield muskets. We have no rifles yet, but it's early in the war, so shouldn't be surprised by that. We do have an order placed for some Springfield rifled muskets that hopefully will arrive before too long. So he's moving in over on my right. So I'm going to bring Crook's cavalry over here to get them in position just to help cover that flank. I'm also shifting the 21st King James Regiment of Foot over here so that they're in a better position to move in if needed. We may not get into an attack by him today. We'll see. It's 2:30 in the afternoon already, but we'll extend our fortifications after the end of the day in this direction. See what he decides to do then. Okay, we're going to give our 10-pounder Parrots under John Fremont an order for counter battery fire. See if we can try to neutralize some of these guns here. I don't know if these 12-pounder field guns really have the effectiveness to be able to do that themselves. Crook is under fire from some skirmishers here, so we're going to have to move up to engage them, because he had me at range and I wasn't close enough to be in his range to where I could fire on him. So we'll see how these guns do in trying to neutralize some of his. Let's take a look at the strength report. Looks like we've suffered 188 casualties to his 100. He's showing about 100 guns to our 77. And of course, that 77 number counts Halleck's 6-pounders, which are 16, so we actually only have about 60. So, Charles F. Smith, who is the commander of the All-Australian Volunteers Division, was wounded, apparently by artillery fire. Guess we got him a little too close to the line. Let's pull Grant back, make sure the same thing doesn't happen to him. I don't know what in the world Crook's doing, but he needs to get himself back in position. So that's a unnecessary thing that happened. We're not even in combat yet, and we already did lose a division commander. We're also losing a lot from these 12-pounders, which is fine. If we're going to take artillery losses, I'd rather it be in the 12-pounders than in the 10-pounders, which I'm hopefully using to neutralize his guns. Let's take a look and see. Yeah, we've taken out 5 of his. We've lost 7 of ours, but the 5 of his hopefully are more important to him than the ones I'm losing. I sent Burton in to try and deal with B's artillery that had moved up into a position where they could really do some damage to me, so we're going to try to neutralize them with the Victorian mounted rifles. Once we do that, we'll pull these guys out. Alright, looks like we did that effectively. Let's go ahead and pull back. I don't expect he's going to launch this attack before the end of the day. I think we're going to be looking at day 2. Alright, so we had a little trouble. My game actually was freezing up. I had to exit out of the battle and come back into it. And the 1st Victorian Mounted Rifles got broken in that time where I couldn't do anything. And it was freezing up. Now I'm sending Hancock in here to drive off these skirmishers. We're about to hit nightfall. I think we might get another hour or so of fighting. We'll see. I don't know in October how long it lasts typically. No, Hancock, don't charge into those guys, please. Well, I guess it's too late. You're going to charge into those guys. Now we're going to have 2 broken cavalry units. Hopefully they reform by morning. But it looks like we had the effect of also breaking him, so. In the meantime, we do have some fighting happening right here at the center. The 1st Australian Volunteers under Zook taking on Wise's cavalry. Got some hot fire going there. I love how it looks at dusk. Got the guns firing back here too. Actually going to go ahead and switch our parrots over to fire at will. So far casualties pretty much even on both sides. He's got the morale advantage. We do have a bit of a gap here. First Division of the Army of Tennessee is the unit that I had transferred temporarily to help out with another army, and now they're back, but I don't know why. Well, they're not back. Their division commander's back. The division itself has not returned, but that's why Baker is just randomly riding around with no men, because he's there in the order of battle, but his division is not back in the fold yet. So I've lost a lot of artillery. He really had his artillery heavily focused on anti-artillery fire, and I lost 32 guns, almost half my guns, only taking out 10 of his. He took out 2 complete batteries of mine. Wheeler just tried to come at Crook, and Crook drove him off. So I think in the end we'll be okay. Numbers are pretty even. He hasn't really launched an assault yet. We're definitely going to have to extend our parapet right out here overnight. Alright, day 2. I've extended the line as best I could. Curled it back over here. We're going to make him attack. You can see he's doing exactly what I expected he would, which is he's losing his cohesion when he crosses over the water, which makes it a little easier for me to hopefully tear him to pieces when he attacks. 21st King's Regiment of Foot, King James Regiment of Foot, fighting right here. We've got the 1st Victorian Mounted Rifles on the end of the line. I don't have any reserve really to speak of. I do have those 2 cavalry units that had broken, Crook and Hancock. They are both back and ready to fight if needed, but I'll just use them as a reserve. Stevenson is over here on the end of the line, fighting against Cobb's brigade. But the main attack seems to be coming at my center. Things are shifting in my direction, which is always what we want to see. Hopefully we'll start seeing a shift in the casualty numbers now that he's launching a general attack on my lines. This CS infantry is a pretty small unit, and they're going to get to 50% casualties pretty quickly. Still worried about the huge amount of artillery he has. You see how much artillery he's got here. That's what concerns me more than anything. Everybody seems pretty solid. I don't see any part of my line that's wavering too much right now. 20th Ohio's going to start firing now. Alright, he's starting to load up over on my right. There's a lot of units coming in here. But now we've got a 1,000-man advantage in the casualties inflicted. That's what we like to see. I think what I'll do here... Crook's detachment. So I actually took some men from Crook to try and get the guns going again. And so once again he's firing on my artillery. So I'm going to send Crook out here and try to get in on one of his flanks. Just got to keep an eye on how we're doing on this side because he's really trying to load up the attack over here. I think we got him though. Oh yeah. Now that he launched a general assault on my lines... Whoa, whoa, Ferry, where are you going, buddy? Why did he just charge into him? I mean, I get that they're pulling back, but Ferry just really messed up our lines by doing that. 1st Victorian Mounted Rifles broke on his right. He may have felt he had no choice but to do that. I don't know. That was kind of weird how that happened. I think we're good though. He's pulling out. I'm going to send Hancock. We're going to try to pursue some of these batteries. Because he's got a bunch of them. I'd like to neutralize some of that artillery if I can. We'll send Heinzelman out there too. So it was pretty even early on, and it was a little nerve-wracking there at the beginning about what was going to happen, but in the end, the defenses held. Okay. Ended up inflicting 7,000 casualties. Probably 1,500 of those happened after he gave the order to retreat, and I pursued some of his retreating forces. So it ended up a major victory because of that. So Leonidas Polk, not exactly the premier general on the Confederate side. So I'm not real surprised that Grant was able to defeat him, but that throws him back from Nashville. and gives us more of a foothold on the city while we try to build some forts there and make that our base of operation for attacks into northern Mississippi and then eventually moving into eastern Tennessee and northern Georgia. No sooner had we finished that fight in Nashville than we're back at it with Lew Wallace's Army of the Potomac. Not a lot of men there right now either. We're facing two armies, the Army of the Shenandoah and the Confederate Army of the Potomac. Guns about even. He's got more cav and more infantry. Oh boy, one of my least favorite battle maps to fight on. This is Chancellorsville and the Wilderness. And it looks like that's where we're going to run into him. This is always a tough one because these woods make it really hard to figure out what's going on. It's a meeting engagement. So both sides are going to be heading for Hazel Grove. He's going to be a little closer to it than I am. So we're just going to have to take this slowly and not worry so much about the objective. Worry more about just trying to defeat the enemy armies. All right, we found the enemy. He is dug in right at the area in front of Wilderness Church in Hazel Grove. And I've got orders right now for my 3 infantry divisions to move in right here just to the north of Chancellorsville, which is really just a house and a crossroads. I sent the 4th PA Volunteer Cav out front to scout, and I'm glad that I did. So we're waiting for our artillery to come up, waiting for our infantry to come up. We'll probably launch this attack at some point here pretty soon, once everybody's in position. Okay, so he decided to come at me while I was still getting into position. Turn off 4th PA Cav's evade order, but we got to get them in a little closer because they can't hit him from there. It's not giving me the option to dismount. Salem Cadets. The Iron Brigade right there. We've got the 21st Maine. And the Vermlands Faltgarkar. Faltiagarkar. I know I'm not pronouncing that right, so I usually just say Vermlands. There we go. Alright, get up there and fight. Let's get some fire on those guys. We've got artillery here. I've got an entire division in reserve. I'm going to move Cross's fighting 5th up here to start firing into the flank of these guys. Now we just need everybody to hold where they are and we'll be okay. I'm not entirely sure how the unit in the rear is able to fire right now, but I'm not complaining. So far numbers look good. I'm a little worried about these guns here. Salem Cadets are taking a beating because of it. I need Cross to start firing on them. Good news is I got plenty of reserves because we have a really short front line. Because I think we're going to lose the Salem Cadets. We'll move the Lost Shoes infantry into that spot. That's a lot of artillery firing on me, and that's the problem. Let's send some skirmishers out. There we go. We'll send skirmishers out from Iron Brigade because he just doesn't have the range right now to actually be engaged. do the same here, try to get at this artillery. There we go, we broke a unit over on that side. Having cross giving that fire into their flank is helping. I'm about to lose our skirmishers there. Oh, there goes Ricketts. Darn it. Well, the 4th PA Cav lost 800 men, so it's understandable that they're falling back. That's a good chunk of our casualties so far. Alright. Let's bring Cross up. Oh no, he's still there. I don't know why I didn't see that. I just lost sight of him. That's the problem with this battlefield. Too easy to lose sight of people. But the skirmishers are having the desired effect on his artillery. Jones's brigade's already lost half their number. I'm going to charge into him. Hope that works. It did. Perfect, because now what we can do here is we can send further skirmishers out after this artillery. Actually, we can just go after the artillery directly. Let's hit them. Beautiful. Took out both those batteries. And with it, that should be his last hope for victory. Gibbon's skirmishers have been firing for a while and they haven't taken a single casualty. Gonna pull them back. Nice job of the fighting 5th. They're about to hit their perk. They're super close. Let's swing the Lost Shoes infantry around. We haven't even engaged a big chunk of his army that's sitting back here. About to run out of daylight, though. Fighting 5th's going to take some casualties here, but that shouldn't matter. 4th Cavalry just exited the battlefield. That's fine. They did their job. They suffered for it too. Alright, Iron Brigade, do your thing. I'm waiting for Cross to get the order to start long-range fire. There we go. Open up. There we go. Give them sharpshooters. Eventually we'll have to get them some better weapons so they can do that effectively. But they'll start leveling that up at long range. Oh, Cross was wounded. But they did their jobs. They drove off that brigade. There goes Kemper. Beautiful. Fighting 5th. Single-handedly throwing back the Confederate lines. Love it. I shouldn't say single-handedly. They had a lot of help. It just looks that way. I think it's good to point out here that even though they suffered 800 casualties and broke from the battlefield, the 4th PA Volunteer Cavalry inflicted 1,800 casualties on the enemy. That is the most by any single unit. That's more than any other division inflicted in this battle so far. So they really, really did well despite the fact that they broke. Iron Brigade inflicted 1,000 casualties. That may be the most of any of our infantry units. Nicely done. We're on to day 2. We haven't finished the victory yet. The two divisions that were heaviest involved I've thrown out on the flanks now Scammon, who only lost 442 men on that first day. We're going to put in the center now. And we're going to bring Barnard around over here. So now the 1st Minnesota and the 13th Demon Dogs are right at the center of this whole thing. We only need to cause maybe 1 or 2 more units to break to win this. And I think if we send Barnard around to get at these guys, that'll probably do it. Most of the 1st Minnesota is not able to fire yet. Not in range anyway. There we go. Now we'll give him a long range order and then he'll open up. Just need Chamberlain to hold on. He's going to take some casualties here. He does look like he's thinking about an attack. Salem cadets aren't going to be able to withstand a lot. If we can cause these units here to break, it won't matter what happens. Oh, there we go. He has seen enough. 6,000 enemy casualties, 3,600 for us. That's 12% for us, but 20% for him. Interesting that he's still attacking. Now he's up to 7,000 casualties, so we're inflicting casualties quickly now. So he's retreating, but he's still attacking. Very strange. Before this one ends, I want to take a look at the final numbers as far as what happened among all our units. So now you see 1st Minnesota inflicted 1,200 casualties, and all of that happened on day 2. Same with the Demon Dogs. With almost 1,000 casualties inflicted. All of that happening right here at the end. Iron Brigade still 1,000. Great job by everybody. So for the time being, I'm going to put the construction projects on auto manage. I'm going to trust the President's Cabinet to handle that, and auto placement as well. Auto placement actually allows, if you just click on construct, it'll automatically build it in a suitable location, but I'm going to do auto manage. For the time being with those. I want to focus on the military, on recruitment, and on our projects and policies. So we're waiting on Bounties 1, which is 18 days away. That should give me the recruits I need to get the rest of my units in the field. In the meantime, we do have an advantage in men fielded. That's definitely going to change, though, when he finally passes a draft, which I fully expect he will. Well, I thought we were about to get a fight with the Army of the Hudson under Burnside in Grafton, West Virginia, but it appears we haven't quite engaged the Army of the Northwest yet. However, Grant is now facing off against Benjamin McCulloch's Western Army. So not the same army that we had under Braxton Bragg a little while ago, but now the Western Army, looks like the Army of Alabama is there, but not engaged in the fight. All right, I was gonna start moving to advance on him, but it looks like he's gonna come at me. So even though we're not really in a position to set up any kind of fortifications or anything, tell Hancock to stay put. Actually want everybody to stay put for now. We've got Edward Baker's division finally back. That's the Michigan Mighty Beavers, the Rockford Rifles, and the Flemish Lions. So we're gonna let him come to us. I've got the Australians in reserve. My artillery needs to also stop right where they are rather than advance. Although I do need to get them in a place where they can actually fire, and I don't think they're at that place at the moment. Maybe bring them over to this field over here. He's coming right down the road at us. 20th Ohio is going to be right at the brunt of it again. All right, we're on to day 2, so I've extended my line out this way. We're going to let him come into our killing zone as best I can. For some reason, the 21st is fragmented. Hopefully they'll get that figured out before they get into combat. But he's also fragmented. He's coming right at me on this side. I tried to get my artillery in places where they can actually fire. Alright, Michigan Mighty Beavers are going to get the first taste of action today. Followed by the Flemish Lions. They're starting to fight. His guns are going to start opening up here, so we need to send out the skirmishers and bring Crook's Cav around and get on these guys before they start punching holes in my line. We don't want Flemish Lions getting overwhelmed, though we do have a reserve with the Rockford Rifles. Dismount Crook's Cav and then get him up here. I don't know why Flemish Lions aren't sending out skirmishers. Probably because they're already engaged, so it's probably a little late for that. I'm worried about these guns here. Alright, we broke one cavalry unit. Still waiting for these guys to start moving. There goes Cooper. Beautiful. This concerns me right here. So what we just need to do is we need to start rolling up his line before he gets a chance to really do a number on me with his artillery. There we go. Send some skirmishers out. Hopefully that'll help deal with them. The Flemish Lions are about to open up on Canty's brigade. So far, so good. Really helpful if I could get Crook to move a little faster than he has been and getting into position. Alright, Flemish Lions, give him hell. hoping Ferry's detachment can deal effectively with these guns. These are only 6-pounders here. Alright, I'm gonna mount Crook back up. And I want to send him up to finish off this battery. Hancock's taking casualties over here, and I don't think he's able to do much about it. And now here comes the attack on my left. Utah Outlaws going to be the first to fire on his infantry. And then the 20th Ohio. Actually not a great spot for the Utah Outlaws. Lines are a little out of range, which is a problem. There we go, Crook. Nice job. I'm a little worried for Hancock over here, but I don't think it's going to matter in the grand scheme of things. Send some skirmishers out here. Maybe. Need to advance here to put some pressure on here. Yeah, he's trying to get around my flank over there. We need to try and rush things along on the other side. Collapse his left before he does the same to mine. We can also hit Bragg here in the center. We're going to try to finish this thing off right here. Oh, there goes Crook. Alright, he's out. He has seen enough. 2-to-1 casualties in that one. Nicely done. Let's see who did the most damage. Go to our combat report. By far, the 1st Division, Army of Tennessee, which was, I have them designated AOT because I had transferred them temporarily to another command, and I wanted to make sure that I knew where they came from so I could send them back. Michigan Mighty Beavers, 1,400 inflicted casualties. Flemish Lions with 872. Rockford Rifles, who were in a reserve position, still managed to inflict almost 500 casualties. So that's where we did the major damage, was over here with Edward Baker's division, who took 1,100 casualties in the process. All right, the Confederates have an Army of the West that is operating somewhere over here. We haven't really had an opportunity to take Sherman's Army of the Missouri out for a spin yet, so I say it's time we do that. We're going to make a long march all the way down into Carrollton, Arkansas, as we get into winter now, and we'll see what happens with them. I am waiting desperately to get some better weapons. I think very soon we're going to be able to import Austrian rifles. There we go. We've got Union recruits offered bounties. Let's go ahead and take a look. Austrian rifles is now available. That's going to give us the Lorenz rifled musket as an available option that we can import. And we've also got medium-range carbines available, but I don't think I want to spend on that because there's other things that I'd very much like to use that on. We're going to go for Industrialization 2 now, which is going to give me further industrial projects, complexes, and railroads, hopefully allow me to build some more of my own weapons. We're going to max out on our diplomacy spending so that we can get some British artillery, British rifles, and things of that nature. And you can see now I've got 111,000 available recruits. So now I can start recruiting a bunch more units that I wasn't able to before. So those of you who have not seen your patron units yet, fear not. They are coming soon. I think by mid-spring of 62, we should have most of those recruited. The other thing I want to take a look at, though, is in the military panel, I want to see what weapons we now have available to order that we didn't before. There's the Lorenz rifle. We can start importing those. I don't know. I guess 50,000 is the max. I kind of... Yeah, see, I don't like the idea of only ordering like 3,000 and when it takes 36 days for that. A whole 50,000 would be 72 days. It's worth it to go for that. Enfields, we don't have the ability to order yet. Looks like we can order some Burnside carbines, so let's go ahead and start doing that for our cavalry. Boy, they're going to take a long time. I'm going to order 25,000 of those. I'm going to get some more 24-pounder howitzers going. Some more. I don't think we can get any more 14-pounder Jameses right now. Springfield rifled muskets, we're still waiting on our order. It's 27 days away for the 50,000 that we ordered of those. All right, there's a lot more to do here. We're just getting started. We're not going to do this battle with the Army of the Ohio yet. We'll come back with that one next time. Let me know your thoughts. Use the comment section below, and we will see you again soon. Thanks for watching.